What's up, YouTube? See if I get some light on me so you can see me. AJ Simmons checking in. I am live trying to answer quick questions for y'all. So if you got questions, shoot them in. I'm gonna start off by reading a couple of questions I just got via email. First couple of questions came from Walter Lies. He said, "How do you get business credit for like getting supplies and equipment and stuff for your cleaning company?" So basically, usually most of these, you just go to a local a local supply distributor in your area, and usually they'll allow you to set up an account with them. And a lot of times they want you to at least have 3 credit references, so it's kind of hard to get it when you're a brand new business. Another thing that I know that we talked about in the group, that a way that you can get it is with a company called Uline, and that's on the internet, and I believe that they'll let you do it too. I never tried it, but some members in my group that said that they'll do that as well. um, Another thing that he asked was, when you go online to the irs.gov website to get your EIN number, will they mail you your EIN number? So they should. So you can click the option for them to mail it to you, but you should be able to just get it right there on the spot. They'll show it to you on the screen. They'll ask you to save it to your computer, and you can print it out as well. So you shouldn't have to wait for it to come in the mail. The next question came from TC. And by the way, keep pointing. If you got questions for me, point them in now. TC said, "How can I get workman's comp coverage?" And so basically, oh, she asked, how did I get my workman's comp coverage? So I didn't have workman's comp coverage when I was outside of Jam Pro. So like when I did residential house stuff like that, I didn't need workman's comp. I didn't have workman's comp because workman's comp, you basically go off your state requirements. The state of Virginia does not require you to have workman's comp if you have, I believe, it's less than 5 employees, or it might be 3 employees at the time. But since I pay my people as 1099 workers, they're not considered employees. Therefore, I didn't have to have workman's comp. So if it was just me and my wife, then if we were the only W-2 employees, we weren't required to carry workman's comp. The other answer to that is, being that I was with a franchise, so for my commercial accounts, I didn't have to get my own workman's comp because I had it through the franchise anyway. So when I first bought my franchise, I got it through the franchise because the insurance that payment that I was paying to them every month included workman's comp, the bond coverage, and liability insurance as well. So I didn't need workman's comp because I was with a franchise. Your next question went on to say, did you have to have workman's comp prior to the franchise giving me larger accounts? No, because they include it with the insurance, so it kind of comes with it. You don't have to worry about going out and get your own workman's comp coverage in the beginning. Then you also asked, um, did Janpro require my contractors to have workman's comp coverage? So shout out TC, I appreciate you checking in. You also asked, did it require my contractors to have workman's comp? No, like your contractors are your contractors, so your business is between you and the franchise company. But the people that you hire has nothing to do with the franchise, so you don't have to worry about having to show proof of that. Like that's pretty much for them. But you can require that your contractors have it, but it's unnecessary. You don't really need to do that. Um, what else I was going to tell you about? So when you're with a franchise, you can go out and get your own insurance, but when you do go get your own insurance, they're going to require that your insurance matches their insurance coverage, right? So if they got $1 million in liability coverage, you need to have $1 million in liability coverage. This is if you choose to get insurance outside of them because you feel like it's going to be cheaper. I can tell you now, in the beginning, if you're not making a lot of money, it probably would be cheaper to go through the franchise and just do it that way because um, it's based off a percentage with the franchise. So they base it off the percentage of the gross that you make. So if you only grossing $500 a month because you just got started, and they only taking 5% of that 500, then your payment ain't nothing. I mean, you're paying what, $25. So that's nothing. But if you go get down, once you start making more money in your company, then you might want to go out and get your own, seek your own insurance, because again, for the same reason, your insurance is a percentage. So the more you make, the more that they would take, versus if you go outside of the franchise and get coverage, is a set payment based on the size of your company, based on the risk, the type of work that your company do, based on how many workers that you have, etc. So you probably can find it cheaper. I found it cheaper coverage when with my franchise after a while. Like when I first started, I think my whole first year I went through them, and then on my second year I went out and got my own insurance because I realized actually I didn't even go the whole first year. I think once I hit about 7 grand a month, and that was around about 10, 11 months. I think it was. And that remind me too. I've been telling y'all that I had hit 6-figure mark in 9 months. That's not accurate. I went back and I read my ebook here recently because I'm recording the audio version finally after so many years. But I went back and read my ebook, and it actually says in my ebook exactly what I was making at the time I wrote that ebook. And it said in the ebook that I was making 7,100 in my 11th or 12th month. I can't remember what it said. So I was not making 6 figures in my first year. And that also leads me to say this, because somebody inboxed me the other day, one of my members inboxed me the other day, and they said in the Clean Biz Network, figures in the first year is typical with most franchise owners. So he said he was only doing $3,000 at the time, and he was with his franchise company for like 4 months. So he was like, is that a problem? He wanted to know my opinion, and I told him is 6 months. 6 figures in that first year is actually not typical. Okay, that's why you see me highlighting it so much when people do it, and I interview them and I praise them and I big up them and I shout them out and all of that, because that's not typical. Okay, I did hit the 6-figure mark. I think it was like early in that second year, but I didn't do it in the first year actually. So I needed to come back and correct that. But anyway, what I was getting to was once I hit about $7,000 a month, that's when I went out and got my own insurance outside of the franchise, because at that point it made more sense for me to go outside the franchise. And depending on what state you're in, it might not be cheaper, because like insurance in Florida is higher than insurance in Virginia, in my experience. You know what I mean? So it all depends on where you are too. And then also, the state of Virginia didn't require me to have workman's comp because of the way that I structured my company. But if you're in a state that requires you to have workman's comp regardless, it might not be cheaper, because workman's comp is expensive. Okay, so depending on how many workers you have. So that's some stuff to consider. But if y'all got any more questions, I'll hit them up. Shout out G-Man. I see you. But other than that, if y'all ain't got no more questions, I'm going to shut it down. But I wanted to check in with y'all and answer these couple of questions. And if y'all got more questions, anybody watching this, definitely email me, aj@cleanbiznetwork.com. Or you can just leave your questions on comments on videos. I try to get to those as well. And I try to continue to answer those. Shout out Kenya Ellis. She just joined the Clean Biz Network. Shout out a couple of other people who just bought their starter kits last night as well as today. Y'all definitely go to cleanbiznetwork.com, get your starter kit if you're trying to get started. If you don't want to go to franchise, or maybe if you do want to go to franchise, but you want to be able to get your own accounts and bid on your own contracts, etc. So that's what I got for y'all. Also join us in the Clean Biz Network if you want that guidance. 17 Blast says, how long you plan on staying with Jam Pro? Great question. Funny you should ask, because I'm actually in the process of selling my franchise to my brother, who has been my manager for the past about 2 years. Well, a year and a half since I've been in Florida. But we're in the process of closing that deal, so I'll announce it once it's completely done. But for now, I still got my franchise. I'm officially still the owner, but it won't be for long. G-Man says, do you have a video on getting insurance? I do. If you type in AJ Simmons insurance, it should come right up. But I definitely do got a video on that. TC said, appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate you for emailing and checking in and watching and subscribing, and everybody else who watched subscribing. I appreciate y'all. I'm about to shut it down. AJ Simmons, thank y'all for